It was thought that our central nervous system was an immune privileged system. Immune privilege means that our immunologic system could not penetrate through the CNS in normal life. But it is thought nowadays that immune system works within our brain in normal person, and they work for memory. Even the memory, it is a work by Professor Kipnis in Cleveland Clinic. He could find that T cells are important in memories. And T cells, in another activity, when they increase in our brain, they can penetrate into the brain in inflammation, involved in neurodegenerative diseases, Parkinson, Alzheimer, ALS, and multiple sclerosis. What erythropoietin do for the T cells? Erythropoietin can regularly decrease T cell in our brain. And another clue that it can decrease neuroinflammation. So, neuroinflammation, when persists a longer time, results in gliosis, scar formation within our brain. And when erythropoietin decreases inflammation, neuroinflammation, it can help regeneration of the brain. Let's see. EPO expression in the nervous system, once again, depends on tissue oxygen, HIF pathway, and EPO increases in mechanical damage to the brain. It is a natural phenomenon. It increases in infection of the brain. It increases in metabolic stress of the brain, low glucose, insulin. And in oxidative stress, normally it increases, but not to the degree that we are expecting. We need more erythropoietin, more than that this increase provide for the blood, for the brain cells. Elevated temperature, intense neural activity, enrichment, and pro-inflammatory cytokines, the molecules that produce inflammation in our brain and our other tissues, decreases erythropoietin in our brain. So in inflammation, it would like to increase, but pro-inflammatory cytokines decrease erythropoietin within our brain. What should we do? We should administer erythropoietin to be replaced for the erythropoietin that was decreased with these pro-inflammatory cytokines. Because in inflammation, pro-inflammatory cytokines and inflammatory cascade starts, increases. The expression of EPO-R is once again sensitive to hypoxia, but regulated by pro-inflammatory cytokines. And when we, in the previous slide, it was said that erythropoietin decreases with pro-inflammatory cytokines. And inflammatory cytokines too decreases its receptor. So both erythropoietin and the receptor decreases neuroinflammation, but the brain needs it. Okay, EPO and EPO-R in healthy brain is low. In injured brain it increases, but cytokines decreases the erythropoietin. After erythropoietin binds to its receptor, a cascade of events occur. JAK2 is an enzyme, a protein, which after binding of erythropoietin to its receptor is autophosphorylated. And after autophosphorylation of JAK2, a cascade of events occurs, result in anti-apoptosis. You could recall from a previous slides that in neuroinflammation, apoptosis increased. But when the erythropoietin binds to its receptor, anti-apoptosis effect occurs. And autophosphorylation of JAK2 results in inhibition of pro-apoptotic and some molecules that are very, very deep to the investigations, and is not needed to be explained here. And once again, it increases binding of erythropoietin to its erythropoietin receptor. Increases NOS, nitric oxide synthase. Nitric oxide is a protein which helps and involves in autoregulation of brain circulation. So it helps too. And another thing, in another way, even this cascade is implicated in the memory. It increases the memory ability of the brain system. And so, disruption inositol. You know, this cascade called PI3K, inositol 3-phosphate kinase, increases inositol, and disruption of inositol results in bipolar disorders, Alzheimer's disease, bulimia, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and epilepsy. So we have many clues. And EPO and EPO-R, binding these two together, increases the JAK2, decreases pro-inflammatory cytokines and inflammatory cytokines, increase downregulation of nuclear factor kappa B in inflammatory cells, and upregulation of nuclear factor kappa B in neural cells. I will put these slides in SlideShare and in my personal website. Do not take your time to take a photograph. You will find it. And all of a sudden, a multi-center blind study in Germany resulted in finding that EPO had no cell protective effect and even might be hazardous in humans in 2005. From 2005, there were lots of huge studies that negate these results. And one of the studies in 2016, it was shown that in infants with moderate to severe hypoxic encephalopathy, the newborn born in hypoxic encephalopathy with lots of paralysis, diminished MRI brain injury, erythropoietin, and improved motor function of the infant after 1 year. So erythropoietin till now, we could find that protects neurons against low oxygen, calcium channel dysfunction, excitotoxicity, and against free radical of oxygen and nitrogen. And erythropoietin facilitates energy production in mitochondria through stabilizing mitochondrial membrane potential. The membrane potential of mitochondria is -90. When it goes to 0, mitochondria cannot produce energy, but it uses energy. Mitochondria would be changed to a body with, instead of producing energy, it consumes energy. And erythropoietin stabilizes the mitochondria membrane potential. So EPO, till now, we could find that it decreases apoptosis, inflammatory responses, and establishment compromised function, proliferation, migration, differentiation, survival of stem cells of the brain. Now we have another thing. EPO protects blood-brain barrier as well. So in neuroinflammation, blood-brain barrier should be repaired as soon as possible. And erythropoietin could protect blood-brain barrier through decreasing of metalloproteinases and glial cell inflammatory reaction, the thing that produces gliosis and scar formation in the brain. And another thing that is important, but it is not needed to tell this, it increases tissue inhibitor metalloproteinases. Metalloproteinases are produced when the inflammation occurs, and it disrupts the matrix of the basal matrix of the brain tissue, just to let the new vascular system go through it. But when it increases, it destructs other parts of the normal brain as well. Erythropoietin limits it, restricts it, just for the new vessels to go through it, to go through the matrix that should be disrupted, but other matrices should not be disrupted. And EPO helps regeneration of neural cells through increasing VEGF and restricts the VEGF effect to the site of injury. Because VEGF as well as MMPs and metalloproteinases, when go out of the injury site, they will destruct the normal tissues as well. So EPO has pro-angiogenic property. This pro-angiogenic property is very important when you administer erythropoietin, because if the patient has malignancy, especially solid like breast tumors, when erythropoietin is administered, it increases the malignant tumors. And what is this? One of the side effects of erythropoietin? It increases malignancies. Distribution of malignant tumors increases. So we should just think about administration of erythropoietin for patients. Prior to this administration, we should be focused on the malignancy that might be in the patient. If there's any history of malignancy, erythropoietin should not be administered at all, like antioxidants as well. So, EPO-R in cultures of cerebellar and hippocampal neurons reduces glutamatergic or excitotoxicity within the brain. So it reduces excitotoxicity as well. And EPO-R increases the resistance of the injured brain against reperfusion injury, because it reduces free radicals. EPO can decrease pro-inflammatory and inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and interleukin-6, and TNF-alpha interleukin-1 inhibits erythropoietin as well. For this reason, when the inflammatory cascade occurs within our brain, we can give the patient erythropoietin to decrease this effect. Okay, erythropoietin neonatal rats after hypoxic ischemic injury increases the production of oligodendrocytes. And in adults as well, it increases myelinated axon in peri-infarct white matter. So, what occurs in multiple sclerosis? Injury to oligodendrocytes and injury to myelinated neurons. So erythropoietin might as well work. And erythropoietin decreases the edema through regulating of aquaporin channels. Aquaporin channels are some channels within our neurons that transport water, free water. And when the edema occurs, these aquaporins should work well to resist against the edema of the brain cells. So, I had some cases, there are 8 till now, that erythropoietin, in all of them, was successfully administered and the patients are in health. with minimum disabilities. The first case is a 49-year-old woman with subarachnoid hemorrhage, blood within the brain, and edema of the brain. GCS was low. GCS shows that the level of consciousness. She was decreasing in consciousness, SH. And after she was treated in our ICU, in my ICU, with erythropoietin, her situation went well. And the consciousness recovered faster than we could expect. And this is the, in some part, she went through hydrocephaly, and a catheter was put in the ventricle to decrease the water of the brain within the ventricle. But the edema before this catheter decreased. And now she is in full consciousness with my person here and one of my fellows in our ICU. She discharged in good health to home. We could not expect it. The second case is a boy of 6 years of age. You're a teacher.
Yes.
You know that 6-year-olds, boys are very cuties and very good. They could be learned well. He went through a tonsillectomy, removing of the tonsils. After tonsillectomy, the base of the tonsil disrupted and the blood gushed out from the carotid arteries, the main arteries within the neck that provide the brain with the blood. And a friend of mine who is a vascular surgeon operated him. Through operation, because it was very emergent, the ligation of the carotid artery was prolonged. For this reason, blood could not be reached to the brain in one side, and the blood from the other side could not provide enough, the circulation from the other side could not provide enough blood to the other side. For this reason, the patient got infarcted in MCA territory in this side. So you can see the infarcted part. The vascular surgeon called me. I told him that, please administer erythropoietin. High dose of erythropoietin for a child. And gradually, his consciousness recovered. And his consciousness recovered, and he could be extubated, removed from the mechanical ventilator. After extubation, removing of the tube within the trachea, all of a sudden, the place of the part of the surgery disrupted once again. And now, something bad occurred.